But yeah, I'm trying to get used to the headphones so that I get used to podcasting when we do podcasts. So from now on with these live Q&As, I'm going to use this setup as if we're doing a real podcast with you live chat. So I'm kind of excited about doing podcasting and stuff and starting that, but I just want to make sure I get used to it. Oh, we got Nick in the building. My son is in the building. He had to make sure he was here when I invited everybody, and I appreciate it. Rob List Inc., you're the man. Gang, gang. John. Everything's good, man. Like I was just telling everybody else, I'm trying to get used to this podcast setup. We're trying to get our entire setup done. Jessa has her whole setup done, and we're getting our traveling setup going. And it's kind of fun, man. I can't wait to get into podcasting. I feel like I talk too much for a normal human. But I talk just enough for someone who podcasts, you know. So I'm trying to capture that skill, you know. And feel free to ask me questions, guys. All this stuff is going to be clipped up on Instagram still the same way that we usually do it. I'm just using a different setup. And I'm trying to get used to these headphones and hearing myself talk and all that. So just that stuff. When are you going to make online classes? Very soon, and I keep saying that and stuff, but we got a lot of stuff we're working on. We're trying to get the podcasting up, and we're trying to get some of the free content dialed in before the paid content, because I feel like before we dial in the free content, the stuff that really is the anchor to our entire thing, it's just going to work out better if we get all that dialed in before we do the paid stuff. And I really want to dial in the podcasting and the vlogging, because the vlogging and the podcasting kind of go hand in hand, especially since it's a traveling podcast and we're going to be going all different types of places. So, yeah. Tattoo AG said, starting my own shop, literally 2 weeks from opening. Any tips? Been tattooing 8 years. Well, it's hard for me to give you any random tips because I don't know how you're already setting it up. I mean, I would need more information, you know, like how many stations do you got? Have you already set up whether you're going to book their appointments for them with a manager, or are they going to do it themselves? Are you taking a percentage cut, or are you doing a booth rent? And all of that makes a difference in the type of advice I would give you. But I would say, you know, make your business all about the artist and the clients, and not about lining your pockets. Obviously, you have to do the right decisions as far as profitability for the business. Otherwise, it's like, what's the point, right? But I'm talking about the other stuff, like making it comfortable for the artist to want to stay and grow and breed loyalty. And then for the clients, you want it to be an experience, and you want it to be a fun time to make them want to come back. Even aside from the tattoo, they still want to come back and have that experience again. So focusing on that is going to be a big thing. It's going to set you apart from all the other shops and stuff like that. But if you want any more in-depth advice, I would need to know a couple of those other things, you know? Like your cut, G. Thanks. Yeah, guys, I chopped my hair off. Look, check it out. I got like a little baby mullet. It's kind of dope. The long hair, I had it for a while in a bun, but the only reason I had it in a bun is because I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't really like the bun. It wasn't the style that I wanted to do, but I just didn't have anything else to do with it. So I finally chopped it off. My boy Renji is a hairstylist. He does really cool. I mean, he does this style all the time. So when he chopped it off and he started doing this style, I really liked it, and I think I'm going to rock this for a while. And it feels a lot better not having something that's so high maintenance, because I could just wake up out of bed and have my hair styled already because of bedhead, you know what I'm saying? But I'm glad you guys like it. Where can I watch the podcast? The podcast is not out yet. We're setting it all up. We just bought all the equipment, and we got some really cool guests that we're going to start with right off the bat. But as soon as it goes live, you guys will know. And then Jess's podcast is about to drop, The Pussycat Dolls. They already filmed their first episode. They're filming another one tomorrow, and their first episode, I think, is going to drop sometime next week. So you guys got to tune into that, because it's going to be a really unique podcast hosted by a woman that tattoo about, not just tattooing, about life and relationships and sex and fucking everything, you know? So tap into that one as well. But you guys will know when mine drops. Burgess Inc. asked, what do you recommend when you start feeling a little worn out from tattooing? Oh God, man, we have all faced this before, and I'm sure everyone can relate. The main thing that I tell people a lot is you getting burnt out from tattooing or whatever your profession is rarely about the actual tattooing and mostly has to do with how you're living the rest of your life. Of course, you can get creatively stumped and just feel like you hit a plateau in the place that you work at, but that's a different conversation, right? That point, you need to get around better artists that are you're more inspired by on a daily basis so you could stay at that high level of inspiration. But on the side of that, in my opinion, most burnout happens from the way you're living the rest of your life, whether you're not getting enough exercise, whether you're not taking care of yourself, whether you don't have a good balance of like tapping in with your friends and your family and like hanging out with them. Because really, it's all about balance, right? And if you lack balance, you could be really good at something, but you're always going to fall off. Because tattooing and life actually is like skateboarding. You could push as hard as you want, but if you don't have balance, you're going to fall off every time. And that's just it, man. So really audit the way that you're living the rest of your life and try to take a checklist of all of these different categories in life and see what you're doing or what you're not doing in each of those categories. I promise if you focus on having more balance, you'll have less burnout and you'll stay more consistent and inspired with everything in your life, not just tattooing. So try that out. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see what's going on. Destroyer Jake said, so glad he dropped the ghetto aesthetic. I don't know what that means, man. Ghetto aesthetic. I don't know what that means. I just had a man bun and I cut my hair. Don't know what you mean by that. I am from the hood. I grew up in the hood. I grew up in a very shitty neighborhood around everything, and tattooing changed my life. And yeah, that's kind of an odd statement to say. It sounds very judgmental. Sounds like you don't really know. Yeah, a little naive. Just a little bit. No shade, just a little naive. Psych Trance said, you're such a beautiful soul. Keep spreading that love and light. Thank you. We love you. Got to let that light shine and don't hold it back for anybody, not even your own insecurities. I'm trying to remember if I even used the Flux before, but some of my artists had used the Flux. I like Bishop as a company better, and I just like that machine. I know some of the guys that work at Bishop and own Bishop. They're super cool people. I love supporting them. Not to mention the Bishop Juan Packer is just like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, If you like that machine, you like how it hits and it fits in your hand and it feels nice and they got disposable grips and you like the critical battery combination and all that type of stuff, that's why I use it. It's just, I used it, I loved it, and I used that. I don't think I'm going to wake up one day and want to use the Flux just because, But Flux is a great machine. A lot of people love it, but I guarantee Bishop Wand is just an all-around great machine, and no one would have anything to complain about it. Moving on. Karina Boo Kitty said, where's your shop located? My shop is located in Sacramento, California, downtown, midtown area, right where it's popping at. We got a big, nice building. It's beautiful. We got a bunch of beautiful people inside of it as well. So it's beautiful on the inside and the outside. Looking at the questions, guys. Looking at the questions. Give me a second here. Give me a second. So Tattoo Rico said, where's the best city to thrive as an artist? Been tattooing in Texas for 10 years. Seems like artists don't blow up as much out here. Okay, so in my opinion, I don't think location has that much to do with it if you're not focusing on like walk-in clientele and stuff like that. The image that you make for yourself is mostly going to be online and on social media, and that takes a lot of effort to create a branded image, like a personal brand based on you. When people see you, they see your work, they know it's you. You have a niche style that is specific enough to where they could tell who did it, and they could point you out. Once you get to that point, you're going to have clients that fly in from wherever to go wherever you're at, Some of the most famous tattoo artists in the world live in the middle of nowhere in the Midwest somewhere, but they're completely booked with people flying in all the time. So I don't think location has as much to do with it, especially you're talking about Texas. Texas is a great place to live, and there's so many people moving out there from California that if you're not blowing up, I don't think it's Texas. I think it's just your own personal output and just how you're going about things, So I know it's really tough to build a personal brand or just getting your work to the point where people can recognize it, but I think that's going to be key for you, So just audit the way you go about things for your social media and how you present yourself, and how you present your work and your personality and all these things. And if there's some discrepancies there, I guarantee you that working on those things is going to help a lot. The only thing I would say, though, is there's obviously places where celebrities are more frequent, and a lot of these artists are getting popping just from tattooing one or two celebrities. So it's kind of like in LA, of course, in like Miami, of course, sometimes in New York, of course, you're going to have an easier time catching some celebrity clientele. And if you catch one or two, that could blow up your name a lot. But I never try to rely on celebrity clientele because I just don't like the idea of catering to someone who just doesn't really give a fuck about what you got going on. Some of them do, and they're really good people, but a lot of them just want to get some tats and like bang out some random ass shit, right? And I sometimes it's just kind of off-putting to me, right? So yeah, just consider all of that. Ryan Asher Wood Tattoo says, been in the industry for almost 4 years, but in the past couple months, listening to you, I've learned so much. Much love. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm trying to put out content that is for artists and beyond, right? So for artists, meaning there's a lot of stuff out there for the clients. This stuff is geared more towards the mentality and the actual practice of the artist. And then beyond that, a lot of the mindset stuff can be used by anybody in any industry. So I really love teaching that stuff even more than just the tattooing stuff because I feel like it's the most potent. I feel like you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck by working on yourself and your balance and your mindset when you're approaching these types of things like tattooing or whatever profession you're in. You're going to be more effective at it, and you're also going to be able to learn quicker and apply quicker. So it's like, yeah, of course, you could use every single second of your day just head down tattooing and stuff, but I guarantee you if someone was approaching it with the right mindset and the right balance in their life, some people just soak it up way faster than others, and they get good really fast. And I think that's due to their mindset and the way they look at stuff, the way they look at information, the way they break down processes and stuff like that. So focusing on that, the balance in your mindset is going to be huge in you getting to the next step in your tattooing or whatever you're doing. Tats by Blake asks, do you see your artists as employees or entrepreneurs? 100% I see them as entrepreneurs, and I always encourage them to work on their own personal brands because I understand as an artist myself, have worked in many different shops, a lot of shops don't want you to have your own voice or your own anything, your own style, your own clients, your own voice. I think it's crucial, even to a shop's benefit, not just the individual. The shop benefits from everyone having their own personal brand and everyone just kind of working on their own image while at the same time hyping the image of the shop up, because it just makes the shop look better when everyone is like on the same page. They're all trying to do the same thing. They're all trying to make it in their own way, but they are 1099. So they're independent contractors. They have their own work and we just contract them, right? All I could do is give them a home that is very supportive, give them a setup that is so good that they wouldn't want to leave, and just create an environment that breeds loyalty and creativity. After that, I just kind of let it all flow. And as long as anybody isn't doing anything too messed up or whatever, I never have to check anybody. I never have to, pull them aside. Very rarely, because everyone knows what we do, how we do it. And as long as you stay within those parameters, everything should be all love. And that's it. Moving on. Italo Tattoos said guest spot for October. Yeah. You should hit up Charlie, our manager, to set that up. You could either hit the email book@peaksandvalleysbrand.com or hit the shop Instagram account, and she usually is on there looking at the messages. So if you want to set up a guest spot, go ahead and message her or email her, and I'm sure she'll be able to set something up for you. What do you guys think about me starting a podcast, though? I really want you guys to think about it. Like, think about the type of content that I already make, the type of shit I already talk about, and then add in a guest and like really interesting guests, whether they be famous, they be rich, or they're just really into what they do. I think I could have really good conversations with certain people and pull out certain things about their life and their narrative that other people wouldn't pull out. Just a unique perspective, a unique conversation, a very intelligent conversation, but it's fun at the same time. So I want you guys to really tell me if you guys would fuck with a podcast like that, because I'm really hyped on it, and I feel like I'd be really good at it. Because like I said, I talk too much as it is for a normal human, but I talk enough for a podcaster, right? And I'm really good at listening. So let me know what you guys would think of that. Burgess Inc. asked, Shine, Do you think it's best to tattoo 5 days a week, or is it best to tone it down over time? This is a great question. I guess it depends on what style you do and how much preparation it takes to do your style. For our style specifically, it takes a lot of designing, a lot of preparation, and then we are usually with our clients for multiple days, at least 2 days, right? So if you're with one client, you're designing for 2 days, and you're with that client for 10 plus hours each of those days. Sometimes, we got to the point where we started doing 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 2 days off. So it's basically 4 days a week, right? You have a back-to-back, and then you use that next day to prep for your next back-to-back, and then the next day you do your back-to-back session, and then you take your weekend off, right? This is a long time coming. We have worked 5, 6, 7 days a week for many, 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 many years and got to the point where we wanted to do quality over quantity. I understand this is not good for everyone. People have bills and they're like, oh, if I cut out a day, then it's less money and all this stuff. But we realize that the quality always turns out better if you have more preparation time. So we have a day to prep for a client, especially when you're designing something big, right? But for other people that maybe their style doesn't take as much preparation and it's easier to go about it, right? Maybe it's like very little designing and the tattoos only take an hour and a half or something like that because you're doing smaller pieces or whatever, something like that. You can get away with tattoo. If I did that, I would tattoo 7 days a week just because it's not that big a deal. It's not like it's taking up all your mental capacity and all your physical energy and just all of this stuff. You could decide how long you want to tattoo in a day just by how many tattoos you do. Especially like script artists, you could randomly hop up out of bed and go knock out a little hour and a half banger and charge them. And that's tight, So it all is very specific to the style that you do. But for us, as an example, for someone that does a lot of bigger pieces, that's how we do it. Sorry, guys, I'm looking at the camera as I'm talking because we're going to clip all my answers and stuff. And I want to make sure that it looks good when I'm like looking at the camera. So if I'm looking away, I'm still talking to you. Baby mullet is a bullet. LOL. I'm just going to take that as a compliment. I don't even know what that means, but I'm going to take it as a compliment. I'm probably way behind because I'm trying to go through the chat and catch up. Alejo Tat said, maybe a dumb question, but did you draw all throughout your younger years in school? Never a dumb question, bro. I actually like telling people, I've answered this question before. I did not draw as much as you would think. I drew about as much as any kid draws when they're younger, when you just have the free time and you doodle and stuff like that. But as far as being like a top-notch artist from the time I was young and all this stuff and I'm just drawing masterpieces, no. The time when I started tattooing is the time when I really started taking drawing seriously and I became obsessed. As soon as I decided, hey, this is what I want to do, I woke up every day and I was on the couch tattooing, and it was a really good time because it was my chance to pay my dues and get the reps in and stuff. So I spent a long time getting my reps in with drawing and trying to catch up to people that have been drawing really well since they were young. But it's like tattooing is a combination of understanding art, drawing, but also understanding the craft as a whole, like how the shit works, how the needles work, what mechanically is actually happening when it's moving up and down, going into the skin, how deep it's going, like getting the feel in the machine for when you know that you're saturating properly and you're feeling that feedback. All that is super important. It all plays into it because there's a ton of people that are really great at drawing that are not good at tattooing, and it's because they can't connect with the actual mechanics of it all, because learning tattooing is almost like someone who draws learning how to paint. Like, it's a separate medium, right? It's a different medium. And this is way more mechanical and crude because you're using needles and blood and skin like that. So you have to be able to translate what you can draw over to tattooing. And I would say that, I because I started tattooing, I have a great understanding of art just as much as someone that went to art school. But that's because I learned how to break it all down and understand it, each level of just whatever's going on when you're tattooing, when you're designing, when you're applying and stuff like that. So no dumb questions, bro, but there's your answer. Who is the manager of the shop to contact? Her name is Charlie, but she is usually on the Peaks and Valleys brand page. So if you were to message that, she would be on there. And then if you email book@peaksandvalleysbrand.com, she is the one that handles the emails. Her name is Charlie. spelled Charleigh. Hey, just so you guys know, what are those tips called? Stickers or what are they? Badges? They're badges? Just so you guys know, I do this live for free. I answer all your guys' questions for free. So if you guys want to support, go ahead and cop a badge and throw it down there. If you cop a badge, I'll answer anything you want. Doesn't matter how crazy it is. But go ahead and support and drop a badge, guys. I love you. Moving on. Moving on. Tilda N Tattoo said, tattoos changed my life for the good. Mine too. Tattooing definitely saved my life. My life path was very grim and just depressing, right? I could have very easily fallen into a path that just took me all the way down or just had me very steady and content in like a bad way. You know, someone that was very unfulfilling and regretful. That's the type of life I would have lived. Either that or I'd be dead or probably in jail. So luckily, tattooing gave me that path and gave me a purpose, and it allowed me to put my head down and focus on something and get better at something that would last forever. So the thing about trades is, why I love them so much, is like once you learn the skill, you have that skill forever, and no one can take that from you. Someone can take my machine, but I could buy a machine and I'll never go broke because I can tattoo. But no one could take that knowledge of the skill and the application and just the knowledge in general. No one could take that from you. That's why I love wisdom and knowledge, not just in tattooing, but just in life, because it's something that is very tangible, but no one can physically take it from you. And it's applied in a way that is most effective across all of life. It's very effective. If you have a good mental, spiritual, body balance, then you are unstoppable. All three of those things are stuff that people cannot take from you. So tattooing changed my life as well. In Vibes We Trust Tattoos asked, what about one-on-one seminars? Yeah, I'm down for one-on-one seminars. I think we're going to offer some stuff online and then also in-person stuff. The in-person stuff's a little more personable, obviously, because you're in person. But a lot of these people that are going to want these one-on-ones are going to have to fly out and stuff. So I want to make sure they're getting the value if they fly out here. And then even what that would look like as far as like charging or whatever like that. So we're trying to dial in and make everything make sense for the amount of value we're giving versus how much we would ask in return. Not trying to, hit y'all over the head and stuff. I want to make sure the value that we give you guys is above and beyond. So yeah, one-on-one seminars, group seminars, online seminars, all that stuff. Even live seminars for my subscribers only. Iraq King said, Shine putting on for the city and the tattoo world. Yes, sir, I'm trying. I'm born and raised in Sacramento, California. Could have easily moved and became an LA kid or a Miami kid, right? Which sounds super fun. But at the same time, I was born and raised here. I was homeless here with my mom. I've been through all my ups and downs in Sacramento. And although parts of that left like a bad taste in my mouth, now I have a different perspective on it now that I'm older, wiser. I have a different situation. I'm around different people. And a lot of your guys' perspective about where you live or what you do has to do with like who you're around and what your mindset is, right? You could want to just fucking move out so fucking bad and get away from all the bullshit, but it's really just you putting that on yourself. I understand sometimes it's necessary, but I'm glad I didn't leave. I'm glad I stayed, and there's a lot of benefit to me putting on for the city that doesn't have a lot of people putting on for it. And then as I stay here, the years go by, Sacramento is getting more and more popping. It's more popular. There's shit going on. The Kings are doing better. There's a lot more money going in. There's more buildings and skyscrapers going up, new sports teams and all of that stuff. And I like being a part of that and being able to say that I didn't leave just because it was cool to be in LA. I stayed here and put on. And even if I do end up moving in a sense that I have a condo here, or I'm over there, I'm over here, I'm always going to be Sacramento born and raised, and I will never claim another city as my own because this is where I started and this is where it all happens at. Moving on. Neotat opinion? I don't have an opinion. I don't think I've ever had a Neotat machine. Maybe I did once, but I probably used it and just didn't like it that much. Bishop for me is the way to go right now. If that changes, I'll let you guys know, but I don't really have an opinion on Neotat, to be honest. Tabitha, what's up? It's been a while. Wow, we got Tabitha in the building. I grew up with her and her brother, my best friend. Where can I get the free content? I mean, this right here is the free content, and then all the clips we post on Instagram, and then we post some shop vlogs on YouTube. But we're expanding on all that right now. You know, I'm going to bring back the personal vlogs, bring up the podcasting and stuff, and then we're going to keep doing the clips, and then you'll also have the clips from the podcast. So we're trying to do like a high volume of content for free for you guys, stuff that is really potent and good, but it's also going to be like really quality too as well, so that it would set up the expectation for the paid content, because that stuff is going to be even better, more in-depth, more like really specific, actionable steps for you guys that are either running a business, tattooing, or just the mindset of living that type of life, you know what I mean, and how you approach it. So this is the free content, man. So if you want to support, go ahead and drop a badge. I would really appreciate it. Klein Joshua said, "Hey, Shine, I started an apprenticeship 2 months ago at a shop that's been open for a year and owned by a 15-year self-taught artist. I've noticed that his hygiene standards and the upkeep of his shop are," and it cuts off there, but I assume I know what you're saying. Okay, so you work at a shop you're apprenticing at, but you notice that his hygiene standards are just not up to par. He doesn't really pay attention to it, and he probably has a lot of bad habits that you don't want to pick up, but that are obvious to you because you have common sense. This is important, right? This is why people say self-taught artists, no matter how long they have, it's tough, man, because they pick up a lot of bad habits, and those bad habits are hard to break for people that have been tattooing that long. He's been tattooing 15 years. If I went there and I told him, hey, man, you got to switch this up, you can't be doing this, it would be hard for him to switch it up. And that's why I think you need to be careful, because you don't want to inherit those same bad habits and just by being around it. It's really good that you're able to pinpoint it. Even though he has more experience than you, you have common sense to pinpoint these bad habits so you know not to pick them up. But now it scares me, because what type of bad habits in actually tattooing that you wouldn't know as a bad habit are you picking up from him? So it's good that you got an apprenticeship. I'm glad you got an apprenticeship. It's really hard to get one, but just be sure that you're getting quality information, because although there are many ways to tattoo, there are definitely wrong ways and there are definitely right ways. So you got to understand what category your mentor falls in before you start soaking up all this information as if it was facts. Because I don't want you to go down an even longer road that even though you got your apprenticeship, you picked up all these bad habits, and then maybe you get around some better artists and stuff. Now you have to break all those habits and then reintroduce new ones, and that is a tough process, right? I'd rather you get it right the first time. I would say you need to, if it's really that, it seems that important, man, I would bring it up to him maybe in a subtle way and just be like, and you could also do it by example, right? You could be very hygienic and make sure everything is nice and stuff, and maybe through that he could see like, oh wow, she's way cleaner than me and all this stuff. But you're gonna have to get out of there at some point. There's no way you're gonna be able to live a whole career in tattooing in that shop and then expect to be one of the best artists. You need to get around artists that are actually doing it well. It's good that he gave you a start. Now you can gain some experience early, but as soon as you can, I would try to seek out a shop that is really well known for what they do, or just known for being really well versed in the industry when it comes to cleanliness and tattooing and application and all of it, you know, because you're going to learn more if you're at a better shop. So consider that. I feel your pain, though. Rodolfo said, sorry, bro, just came on. Did you say you have a podcast? Yeah, we're starting a podcast. It's going to be me, and I'm going to be hosting guests on here, not just tattoo artists, all different types of people that I know personally, and it'll branch out from there. They could be rich, they could be famous, they could be poor, they could be really good at what they do in a different industry, but then they could also be tattoo artists as well. I just think that I really enjoy talking to people one-on-one and even in a group, and I just love pulling out certain dialogue from people and having conversations that normally wouldn't happen in just a normal conversation. Like, I think I'm good at pulling that out of people and getting them real personal and asking types of questions that aren't really asked that much to get a different angle on their life and stuff. And I just love conversating. I love talking. I love all that stuff, right? I've always learned how to articulate myself better. All of that stuff has came to me throughout my career and has become a skill that I want to get better at. And podcasting is the ideal way for me to do that. And people won't tell me I'm talking too much if I have a podcast, right? As long as I listen to my guest. So I think it'll be really fun, man. And it hasn't dropped yet, but we're about to start filming. I just bought all the equipment for the podcast, but I'll give a huge heads up before it drops so you guys can join the countdown and watch the premiere, and then we're going to be dropping them like crazy, so stay tuned for that. Veer almost just fell and knocked over our big lights, and it's kind of funny. What's the best way to practice designing, especially for your guy's style when you use heavy negatives and blacks? I mean, at any point, you could just design all day and practice this stuff, right? I'd say the easiest way to start off with is to have a picture of a part of the body. Let's say it's just like an upper arm or the entire outer arm, right? What you need to do is start looking at the composition of how it's going to be laid out over the entire arm. You're going to have your main subjects. You're going to have your secondary subjects. You're going to have your accessories. Those accessories are just like the little touches that you make, the negative streaks. Maybe there's some secondary like little flowers over here, and then and what you're trying to think about is layering, depth, that type of stuff. Huge part of it is layering, okay? So you're really focusing on getting something to land on top of something else that lands on top of something else, and maybe this goes through it and not on top of it, and creating at least 3 to 4 to 5 layers in a piece for it to look dynamic enough, right? We have a rule of thumb. It has to be at least 3 layers, but lately we've been doing a lot more layers than just 3, right? So you really got to think about that when you're doing it. Start with a main subject, frame it out, put some secondary stuff, and then accessorize it, and then that's how you have a good piece, right? Think about contrast. Think about if an area is really busy and it needs something to break it up, then you could use something negative that is completely negative, because that's just going to instantly break up a heavy dark area that has a bunch of bullshit in there, and you don't want it to be like 5 inches of, I don't know, fur from a lion, right? And this large area. You could frame that. You could put something in that area that is like negative or really bright. If there's some place that has a very open space, you could put something solid black or have something solid black coming out from behind something that's negative to make it pop more. All of these rules that I'll go over when we drop our courses and stuff and our one-on-ones and all that stuff, you can get all of that course material that'll lay it out step by step. But just as a quick explanation, yeah, that's how you would practice design. Just do it over and over again, different themes. Give yourself random themes, because your clients are going to come to you with random themes, and you want to be ready to attack those designs creatively, even though it's might be a theme that you've never done before. But the more reps you put in with designing, the better it's going to get, and the more finished and the more amazing your designs are going to be. Because when you look at those finished designs that are done right, they look chef's kiss. That's what it looks like. It's a good question. Dream Art Tattoos asks, how do you mentally and physically stay in a great headspace for your art, shop, and personal life? This is a great question, and I think I've touched on this many times already, but I would gladly repeat myself over and over and over and over again. Balance is going to be the key factor to anyone doing anything in life. And the reason I say that is I spent many years of my career just tattooing, head down, paying my dues, and becoming very unhealthy. Although I feel like that process was needed to get to where I'm at today, I do feel like there was a smarter way to go about it if I had the guidance. So I was very unhealthy. Maybe I would wake up, I would drink a coffee, go home, go to the shop, tattoo all day. I would go home, realize I hadn't eaten a single thing, and then I wouldn't even be hungry because I just had all this coffee in my stomach, and I just was like, I'm just not really feeling it. So I was intaking very little calories a day, zero protein, all of that. And that just really ran me into the ground. And it took a long time for me to get out of that slump physically and like for my health wise, right? So I would say that I stay in the gym. I stay exercising. I get my blood flowing. It's not just about getting buff or ripped or whatever. It's about getting the blood flow throughout your body. A lot of artists' hips and their backs and even their legs get absolutely no blood flow because they're just sitting down all day. So you need to get your blood flowing every single day, right? Meditation is a huge one. Meditation is what's going to keep your mind centered on what you're doing, and you could approach all your problems that you come through that day with a clear mind, a centered mind. Being very mindful and just in the moment is going to help you with that, right? Because you could have little emotional swings left or right that are heavy and very bipolar throughout the day if you don't center yourself at the beginning of the day, you know? So exercise, meditate, and then, yeah, just being mindful, staying in the moment. That's a huge part of it. You got to really just take everything as it comes. Don't think about your future. Don't think about your past. Just take everything as it comes calmly and just enjoy the ride. And you'll be able to more consistently go throughout a day of working or anything you're doing. Doesn't really matter. You'll more consistently be able to take that on and be a more consistent human for the people around you. No one likes a choppy person who just is nice this day and then absolute prick the next day, or just he's being a dickhead or whatever. You want to be very consistent, not only for you, but for the people around you. So taking care of yourself, self-care, hygiene, all of that stuff. Your self-care is your self-worth and it's your self-respect. If you don't respect yourself, you're not going to take care of yourself. If you take care of yourself, you show that you respect yourself. So think about that, and it'll give you a more well-rounded approach to whatever you do, including tattooing. What is your POV on online tattoo education? My point of view on online tattoo education, there's a lot of them out there that are subpar information, to say the least. I think the problem with it is when people that think they're giving factual or good information start making these things to make money. And a lot of them are giving some type of information that is subpar, very subpar, like not the type of information that I would be selling, nonetheless giving away for free, because if it's just wrong, it's wrong. If it's just bad habits, it's bad habits. And I think a lot of people get hyped up to thinking that they're actually really fucking good because they got like people online. They're like, oh, you're the best I've ever seen. And they let this all go to their head when they're not really auditing themselves to the standard of actually good tattooing and actually good tattoo practice, right? So it's a bad thing when people that think they're really good or think they know start selling people stuff, because it makes a bad look for people that are actually trying to give good value. But it's a great thing when someone that knows what they're talking about blesses you with the information, because information was not always available to you guys about tattooing. Not even that long ago, it was really hard to understand anything about a machine, about this, about that, because they were gatekeeping the information. So if someone that really knows what they're talking about offers you a situation where they're like, hey, small fee, but I'm going to give you everything I know, that is invaluable for you to skyrocket in your career, because it was not always like that. So that's my point of view. Moving on. What conventions do you recommend? My absolute favorite convention that gets put on is Golden State Tattoo Convention in Pasadena, California. It's one of the best ones. It's put on by Ink Magazine, Carlos Torres, and Nico Hurtado. The sister convention to that is the Empire State Convention, which is held in New York, but I've been to that one, and I like Golden State better, only because maybe it's the California location where they have at the Pasadena Convention Center is very open. It's nice. It's just feels very good. The New York one is right downtown in New York, Manhattan, and it's by like a Trump hotel or something like that. And it's just very like claustrophobic and like and it's really hard to get all your equipment in and out of there. But it's similar people there, so that's cool. But Golden State Tattoo Convention, if you're new to tattoo conventions, I suggest going to that one. There's a lot of conventions out there that are like smaller, and they don't have a lot of the best artists. And like, I just don't want your first one to be one of those, just because I don't want your opinion about conventions to come from one of those. I think it's super important that you go to one that is really dope, which is going to Golden State. And we go there every single year. So if you go to Golden State, I'll be there. The team will be there. You'll get to meet us, and we can go get a coffee or something. J Tattoo, thank you for the badge. I appreciate it so much. I'm going to wave to you. Yeah, you guys, if you want to support, I'm giving all this info for free, answering you guys' questions. Go ahead and drop a badge and give a tip. Just support. It's just a little bit. It's nothing crazy. So I appreciate everyone that does it. J Tattoo, who just gave me the badge, said, I've been watching you for years, bro. I learned so much from you. I'm so glad, Jay, and I'm so glad you're learning a lot. So glad you're loving the content. I promise you there will be a lot more content coming out that is even better than what we're already doing, and I'm excited to start that journey, but we want to do it the right way, so we're getting everything set up, and I promise I got more for you guys. Moving on, moving on. Thank you for the badge. Art by ZB and Tamir Kochkarov. Okay, that sounds about right. Thank you for the badges, guys. More tattoos are asked. Should I announce when I move up in price to my clients, or should I just do it? If you have an existing client that you already have at an existing rate and you're going to up their price on them, you have to tell them, right? But the way we do it is if you have a client, let's say at $1,200, and you started their sleeve and you got 2 sessions in, if you up your prices to $1,500, what we would normally do is finish their project at $1,200, the agreed rate that they agreed on when they started your project with you, and then anything after that, they go up to $1,500. It is only fair because they agreed from the start that they want to get their sleeve from you, and they knew that they were going to pay $1,200 a session. If you randomly on any given day, just because you feel like it, upped your rate, and now you're charging $1,500, that is not really good practice, and you want to make sure that you're going about it the right way. To new clients, it doesn't matter. Up your rate when they email, tell them your rate, whatever. But if you have an existing client, do right by them and make sure that they know that you're going to take care of them regardless. Let's see. Art by ZB also gave us a badge, said, how do you go about a situation when you feel like you've way underquoted yourself in a session? So this is assuming that you're doing something either hourly or you're just randomly giving a quote based on the size and the detail of the piece, and you're kind of just guessing, which is why we don't quote like that. We don't do quotes like that. What we do is day rate sessions, or if you have to, when you're starting out, you can do half-day sessions. And what that's going to do is if it takes a full day, they're going to pay the full day price regardless of if it took an extra hour, if it took a little less than that or whatever. There's no finagling the price. There's no back and forth. It's super important to have consistent pricing because most of the time people are just guessing their prices, and I don't think it's consistent enough to be fair to clients and stuff like that. So you got to be very intentional about the way that you quote, because it is going to be hard for you to re-quote someone after you've already quoted them. Usually, once you quote them, they're set in that price in their head, and if you up it on them, it's going to be really tough for you. So I would suggest just completely redoing the way you quote people and try to focus on doing full days and half days, and in that, your clients are going to thank you because it's going to be way more consistent. Hey, hold on, guys. I gotta do something really quick. All right, guys. Sorry about that. That was actually one of my mom's really good friends when she was younger. She had me. I was a baby when I first met her, and she was basically like, I would consider my aunt, but it's funny, as a kid, she would call me her boyfriend, but I was like a baby. And she was around when me and my mom were homeless. And she played a big part in my life when I was younger. You know, she helped my mom a lot when we were homeless and we had a place to stay and stuff like that. So She's definitely a big part of my childhood, and I never get to see her anymore because she lives in a different part. But she just so happened to be in Sacramento, and she stopped by, and it's really cool that I got to see her because I never ever get to see her, and it's very meaningful that I get to see her. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. That was unexpected, but it's kind of cool that I got to see her even on live and stuff like that. It's a big part of my childhood. Bankroll said, "Hey, you did my first tattoo back in your early days of tattooing. I'm wondering if you mean early days like G Parkway out of the house tattooing or at a shop." There's a couple different versions of early days, you know what I mean? Hey, Elephant Taz, thank you for the badge. I just noticed it. I'm trying to go through the chat and see everybody that said something while I was busy. Zero said, "Fit is fire." Thank you, bro. I'm just, fucking around a little bit. You know what's funny is I don't really wear designer stuff that much anymore. I actually don't even think about that. I really like how the clothes get put together and how it overall looks as a vibe, but my clothes aren't usually very expensive. I don't even spend a lot on shoes and stuff like that. It's really just the energy, the vibe that you give off. So I'm more thinking about that when it comes to clothing, and I like it better because you could more abundantly try out different clothes since none of them cost, $1,000 for a shirt. I'm not on that hype right now. I really like putting stuff together that looks good and feels good, but doesn't have to, be your entire life savings. So, are you ever going to visit Prague? Yeah, I want to visit everywhere sometime, right? No plans to do it yet, but there's a lot of places we want to hit first before we go to something as obscure as Prague. But yeah, at some point, me and Vera will be fucking traveling dogs. It'll be fun, but it will be work. Melissa RB Tattoo said, "Your opinion on boundaries with tattooing schedule, days, hours versus body and mind." Thank you for the badge too, Melissa. I know you follow all the time. I notice you all the time, so thank you for your support. Yeah, we were just talking about this a little bit earlier from another question. You really got to set your schedule. This is why I tell people to try to get booked out instead of relying on walk-ins, because it'll give you the opportunity to set your schedule in a way that allows balance, right? So you have to decide based on what style you do, how many tats you do in a day, and just overall whether you want to be more about quantity or quality over quantity. Then you could really set your schedule to leave enough time for you to do the other things in life that make you feel good, that allows you to be more consistent at your job, right? So maybe the play is not 7 days a week, 15 hours a day. Maybe you work less days, but you work long days, right? Like we work 4 days a week, but we're working really hard and we're doing 10 to 13 hour days on each of those days. And that's a lot of effort, right? And that's not including design time and stencil time, which is done at home most of the time. So you really got to decide what type of life you want to live. You could still progress at tattooing with tattooing a little less, but focusing on quality, especially if you're going to work on your mindset, the way you see life, your perspective on it, your perspective on tattooing and what relation it plays into your entire purpose of your life. All this stuff you got to really do some deep diving on and look internally about the way you want to live your life forever. Because a lot of people are just kind of stumbling day in, day out. And if they could get any sense of accomplishment in a day, that's enough for the day. And then they go home, go to sleep, wake up, and now they have to have a new, renewed version of that feeling every single day, as opposed to having like a steady sense of contentment and happiness and still ambitious, but you're not, wondering like, man, what is life? Or like, what am I even doing and stuff? Because you get into those modes and it really burns you out from whatever you do. So I would really say that the keeping your body right. Melissa, specifically, I see you be in the gym and stuff like that. That's really good. But knowing how to fit that into your schedule so you could be completely consistent, and you basically have these prerequisites of to-do lists that you need to do for you to feel good. And all of that, none of it is going to be tattooing. That's what my point is you have to have this list of you have to do daily and weekly for you to feel fulfilled and feel like you're living a full and fully actualized life. And then tattooing will be easier, and like your clients and your creative process, you'll be more creative. All that is going to come to you easier if all of that is on point. So this is a huge thing I want you guys, I'm trying to drill it into your head, and we'll talk more about it in depth on the podcast and on other stuff, but really focus on the stuff I just talked about. Gifted Body Art said, are you open to doing any guest spots? Yeah. If you hit up book@peaksandvalleysbrand.com, hit up Charlie, our manager, send some of your work or your Instagram and say, ideally what months you would want to come out, and she'll give you some dates. If they align up and everything's good, then there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to come guest spot. But she handles all that, not I. I try to delegate some of the stuff, but she's really good at managing that type of stuff. So go ahead and hit her up. Oh, that sucks, man. Okay, so he said, had an appointment with a higher-end artist and got turned away because I was sick, which made sense. What sucked is I heard them talking badly about me as I was leaving, and I looked up to them. You know what sucks, man, is when you look up to somebody and you put them on a pedestal, that pedestal, they could also fall off that pedestal pretty hard. So if you put them up here and they do anything wrong that it doesn't feel right, they just fall completely, and then there goes your fucking idol or the person that you looked up to, right? So just be careful about the type of people that you put on that pedestal and make sure that they're really just like a solid person to look up to. But other than that, man, I wouldn't take it too personally. A lot of shop banter on a day-to-day is just to break up the monotony of the working. And just because he may have said some sly stuff that you heard in the back or whatever, it's just him kind of communicating and expressing the way he's feeling in the moment based on the situation. So it kind of might have sucked for him as well, the fact that you were sick when you came in. He was expecting the tattoo and all of that stuff. But then because you were sick, he didn't get to tattoo, which does suck for the artist. Not that not that it was granted that he was allowed to talk shit or anything like that, but just don't take it personal, because you as an individual is not the person that he was complaining about. He was complaining about the situation. I'd bet money on it, right? And if you were to come and see that guy again, I'm sure he would be happy to see you. It's just he was expressing himself in a way that he knows how to, and people in tattoo shops talk shit all the time. So the combination of the way he was feeling versus the situation versus who he's talking to, which is probably his buddy at the shop, it just came out in a way that probably wasn't the best for you to overhear, right? But don't take it personal. I'm sure he loves to have you as a client. And if he doesn't, you can come to us, and I promise we'll make you feel at home every time. Ink by Joseph said, shout out to Rich. Yeah, shout out to Rich himself, from rags to Richard. He's over there in the corner tatting. Oh, wait, no, he's not. I'm tripping. Hey. He's actually not here today. But, yeah, shout out to Rich. He's the man. Oh, we got fucking Tony in this bitch. What, everyone in the shop is just going to get on my live and watch and talk? I mean, I'm down for it, but it's kind of funny. What up, papas? Hola, mi amigo. All right, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and drop the questions. I'm going to be doing this for a tiny bit longer. I'll keep going. Maybe I'll answer a few more questions, but I want you guys to drop some really good ones and see what we can get going. Remember, these are going to be clipped onto Instagram, like our Instagram clips for the questions and all that. And if the better your question is and I could answer it in detail, it'll make for a good clip, and then you'll see it on the Instagram. So if you got something, drop it now before I fucking leave. Jeremy, bro. Jeremy is a new Peaks and Valleys artist who hasn't started yet. He just gifted me a badge. He is way too kind, and you will see more of him soon. He's moving out here, and he will be tattooing in September. So keep an eye out for him. His books are open if you want to book with him. He is an amazing artist right off bat. He's given a special to the first 10 people that book with him. So if you want to get into the shop and you want to get in with our new artist and be one of his first pieces, and he's going to absolutely kill it, go ahead and go to our website, peaksandvalleysbrand.com, and book with Jeremy. Do you only use curved mags? Yes, I only use curved mags. For black and gray specifically, it is a really good way to not have harsh edges or corners on your shading or little needle marks that happen on the corners of the mag. And you could still get very precise with the curved mags if you know how to angle it correctly, but it's just a slight just boom, just a slight taper up instead of it just being flat across. And it's really going to keep the edges soft, especially for black and gray. It makes it easier to do. But if you do need to get that hard edge, you could just tilt it a little bit. And if you know how to use it, you can get real detailed with it on the corner. But in my opinion, they are the superior mag because I guess for color, the straight edge mags work really well. But even for color, I would use the soft edge mags. And then sometimes digging into the skin, you could accidentally damage the skin and stuff like that. So I just go with curved mags all day, baby, quadrants. Jeremy, I did not confirm this with you, but do you want to come to Golden State with us? I think the dates are September 15th, 16th, and 17th. We're all going. If you could make it, that would be dope. If not, it's all good. I know you're going to be out here by then, but I just never confirmed with you whether you wanted to go to Golden State with us. Amanda asks, is it disrespectful to ask another artist for a lesson while still in your apprenticeship? My mentor doesn't do realism. So, no, I don't think it's disrespectful. I guess the thing that the mentor would want to keep an eye on is if you're getting your information from a viable source that's good information, because he doesn't want you creating bad habits based on the curriculum that he's already giving you. So if he's teaching you the right way and he's teaching you good stuff, and then you seek out information outside of that and it ends up not being good info, then that kind of hinders his process of mentoring you. But on the flip side of that, if you have a vetted source of like another artist, like that artist really knows what they're doing, and you have an opportunity to learn something from them, by all means, you need to be a sponge and soak it all up, as long as you know it's good information. So your mentor should not get mad. If anything, he needs to continue learning just as much as you do. And if you want to do realism and he doesn't do realism, at some point in your career, you're going to have to get around artists that do realism anyways. There's no way you're going to become a great realism artist if you don't work around other realism artists. So it's great for now to learn the basic of tattooing through him, because I'm sure he's good at teaching you the basics and how to work in a shop and the cleanliness and, all of that stuff. But if you want to do realism, you got to get around realism artists. And I don't think your mentor should hold you back from gathering new information, especially if it's vetted and it is good quality info. Any info I'm going to give you on here or any other format is going to be A1 info. So feel free to tell your mentor that you are getting information from me. If he has a problem with it, he can contact me directly and we will have a conversation, but it will not be on you. Soak it up, be a sponge, and I'm here for you. I am here for you. Okay, Jeremy, we're going. Okay, it's good. I'm driving out there. I'll let you know. We'll talk again when I'll text you or something, or as it gets closer, we'll set it up and stuff. But everyone is going. It's gonna be lit as fuck. I don't know where we're gonna stay yet, whether we're gonna get a big Airbnb or we're all just gonna stay in hotels and stuff. But either way, it's gonna be super fun. Golden State is always a really good time. I want to raise my prices, but not sure what to raise it to. I do half and full day sessions. Well, it depends on a couple factors, man. It's like, are you able to get fully booked out and have extra people still contacting you at the rate that you're at now? For a lot of people, you shouldn't raise your rates unless you have an abundance of clients, like too many clients for you to handle that keep contacting you for the rate that you're at. That and the quality of your work obviously needs to be up to par with raising your rates. Your progression as an artist and how you give the experience to the client, all that has to just go up incrementally. And for you to up your rates, it really has to be justified. And if you still have openings in your schedule and it's hard to book and you're like kind of booked and stuff, there's no reason you should up your rates, because you already don't have enough people booking at that rate. Why would you up your rates after that, right? As far as what to raise it to, I don't know what you charge now, so I would need more context, and I haven't looked at your work, so it's hard for me to say. But a 20% raise is not unheard of. If you're going from like 200 a day, that's obviously not what you charge. You probably charge them more than that, but 200 a day to 1,500 a day, that's absolutely ridiculous. You're stepping into a whole new world that you need to be ushered into, and then properly just uplift yourself to that level. Then it would make sense. But you just got to be very fair about why you do things, and be very, very critical about what you're doing and what decisions you're making and what criteria you're making them on. All right, ask me some questions, guys. Ask me some questions. I know I overlooked something. Of course, Jeremy, we're excited to have you. I'm excited to have you out here. And once you get going and you start tattooing day to day, it's gonna be great, man. You're gonna get used to it real quick. You'll get used to the guys. It'll be a fun time. And yeah, we're gonna be tattooing, getting better, being around each other, just living a happy, balanced life. And then every once in a while, we'll go do something crazy like a trip, a convention, a party, whatever the fuck. So we'll make sure that life is really fun and exciting. Block 604 asked, if you increase your price, what's the best way to let the clients know, like old clients? So like a returning client, you're upping your rates and you want to let them know that you're raising your rates. I just answered this question earlier, but in case you didn't hear it, the way we do it, if we up our rates on a client that has already started at a certain rate, we do it after we finish our project that we started with them. So if they started their project at 1200, let's say they started their sleeve at 1200 a session, and then we're 2 sessions in, and then you raise your rate to 1500, I do not raise that client to 1500 until they finish their project. And the reason being is because they agreed to that rate when they decided to get their project done by you, and they thought, I love this guy's work, the price is reasonable, I like him as a person, let's do it, right? But now you're just going to randomly up it on him in the middle of the project that they were so excited about, and you don't know, that might be the deal breaker for him based on their budget, based on what they planned for. You know, some people are going paycheck to paycheck, just saving a little bit of money for their tattoos, and that little raise just fucked them up, and it's just not good practice. Just finish the project, and then after the project, let them know, hey, after I finish this sleeve, bro, I got to bring you up to 15, but you know what? I got you. I'll keep you at 12 for the rest of the project. And there's no way that they're going to have an issue with that, because it makes sense, it's fair, and it makes them feel like you're thinking about them and not just your money. Amanda Isabella said, how do you approach an artist for that type of lesson? Obviously, we'll pay. Well, not all artists are into teaching. I think that there's a lot of people that are good at stuff, but they don't have a knack for teaching. And I think that's a huge part of it, right? Because how you're going to get the information across to them is how well they're going to be able to soak it up and then eventually apply it. So asking an artist that doesn't have he has never promoted anything about teaching you anything or anything like that, and you're trying to get him to do some like one-on-one shit or like a course style or a seminar type thing, it's a shot in the dark, because not a lot of them like to do that. It's extra work on top of it. You might be able to pay him, but this is a totally different medium that he's getting into, and they're not used to teaching people like that. Now, there's people like me that love teaching, but I like to be a little more structured about it. I've not yet offered the one-on-one online seminars and stuff like that, or the course material, or the coaching, but I will drop it, and when I do, it'll be available to all of you. It will be reasonable, it would be high value, and it'll give you an opportunity to be like, okay, if I want to get inspired in tattooing and then keep going and then really get that real potent information that gets me excited and helps me change my mindset and my view on everything and just gets me going on a right path in tattooing that'll take me all the way up, that's the type of shit that we're going to drop. So if you're looking for that type of information, stay tuned. We will be dropping it eventually. We're just working on getting the podcast and the vlogging set up, so the free material is on par with what we will eventually put behind a paywall. So, all right, one more. Come on, guys. One more. Jeremy, one of our artists, said, what can you do if you get artist block? So there's many different ways you could undo that, Jeremy. Everyone's experienced artist block. I would first like to say that you need to evaluate how you're living the rest of your life outside of tattooing. What do you do before work? What do you do after work? And what do you do on your days off? I understand you got a kid and you got a wife and all of that stuff, but my point is your self-care and how you exude that energy that you have on a day off, or how you keep the blood flowing throughout your body and your brain, how you stimulate yourself, how you take care of yourself, is going to be a big part of you consistently staying creative. Now, not to say that's the only thing, right? You can get burnt out artistically in the sense that you just start to feel a little more uninspired when it comes to designing and all this stuff. Sometimes shaking it up helps a lot. Going to conventions helps a lot, because it throws you into the middle of the industry and you really get a viewpoint on, wow, I'm a part of something bigger than myself, bigger than my shop, bigger than my little station that I tattoo in. And it's really cool to see all these artists around the world doing crazy pieces. Sometimes that'll shake the tree a little bit and it'll allow you to pick up on new things, or even just the idea of just rattling your reality that is monotonous and normal every day, and it allows you to just get out of that perspective and put you in a more artistic, creative perspective again, you know? But I do think that a lot of the mindset has to do with it, because you get stuck in this rut of just going to tattoo, going home, playing with your baby, and then going to sleep, going to tattoo, go home, go to bed, just constantly. And it's just, you have to have things outside of that fuel your creativity and fuel your inspiration and fuel your tattooing. So that's a big thing, man. So self-care mindset, going to shake it up by going to conventions and then getting around other artists just to shake it up, just shake up your reality. Don't make it the same routine every single time. Sometimes you got to throw a little wrench in there and then shake the tree loose, you know? Do you participate in conventions outside of Cali? Great question. We are actually going to the Denver convention coming up here in the end of July. I'm going with a few of the guys. Veer's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Jack, Adrian, Rich, Devon. Yeah, we're not going as a Peaks and Valleys booth. We have a booth with another artist who is just collectively we're all going. So we're doing it like that. This was last moment's notice. I just decided to go because I wanted to go to fucking Colorado. I wanted to film some content. I wanted to go to the convention so we could talk to some artists, interview them maybe, do some fun stuff, fun content there. Conventions are always really good content if you're willing to put yourself out there. So it's really fun to get to see all the guys and everybody you've already met, and then meet new people that might have watched our content and stuff. So we'll be there, and yes, 100%. Hey, we could do a meetup in Denver. If anybody is in Denver or visiting or already lives there or is coming for the convention, we will be there. We will do a meetup. You can come by our booth or see me around. We could shoot some content together. You could ask me some questions live, and we'll put it up on the Instagram and everything. We'll really integrate you guys into this stuff. So if you want to meet me, we'll be going to Denver. And look it up, Denver Tattoo Convention. You'll see it. It's obvious. You Google it, all that stuff. And yeah, the only reason I like Golden State in California is because it's really easy to get to. You could just drive there. It's like a 6-hour drive. But I could bring all of our equipment with no hassle. I don't got to fly there. I don't got to bring a bunch of shit. I don't bunch of shit on the plane. I just pack my Jeep up and then go, right? When you go to other places, you don't have that benefit. It's not so easy. If you're going to bring a lot of stuff, you're going to be checking a lot of stuff into the plane, or you're going to ship it out there ahead of time, and it is a huge hassle to bring enough stuff. So Golden State just so happens to be one of the best tattoo conventions, the biggest tattoo conventions, and for me, the most convenient to get to. So it's super fun. Okay. What about Florida conventions, specifically Tampa or St. Pete? Here is an announcement. So Tampa Tattoo Convention had hit us up and wanted me to be a judge for the Black and Gray contest. So I will be at the Tampa one, but that isn't happening until next year, in the beginning of the year. But it'll be really fun. I've never judged a contest before. I've always entered Black and Gray contests and all that. I really feel like I'd be a really good judge, just because I really look at the tattoo and the effort put in, and I look at the application, the saturations, the layers, the design, but I also just look like overall just the effort put in, and I could really feel for who deserves that trophy, you know, and I wouldn't be biased. I wouldn't be none of that stuff, but I think me judging Black and Gray is a perfect fit, and I'm super excited that Tampa allowed us to go in there and do that, and we're getting a booth there, so we'll be there. So if you guys want to meet me and you're in Tampa, we will be there. All right, you guys, I'm about to get off of this thing. It has been a decent amount of time. If you guys want to support, you could drop a badge right now, right before I exit. I will notice it, and I will appreciate you forever, just to show some support. All this live stuff and all this content that we've done thus far is all for free, just for you guys, and we would really appreciate any support. A lot of new stuff is dropping. Podcast is coming. I would love for you guys to tap into that when it drops. It's going to be one of a kind for sure. Vlogs are dropping. It's going to be us traveling and doing podcasts with different guests. and then our paid content, which is more exclusive stuff, behind the scenes stuff, and then also course material, coaching, one-on-one seminars. All that will be available at some point. We are working. We got Veer on it. It's really just me and Veer, guys. It's just us trying to figure this out and put it together and make it all make sense. So I want you guys to just keep tuning in, keep tapping in, show the love. It makes us more excited to continue. And we're only going to get better, you know. Road to a milli on YouTube. Road to a milli, baby. All right, guys. Love you guys, and I will talk to you. Hey, Arson of Tattoo, thank you for the badge on the way out. You're a fucking real one, bro. All right, guys. Peace.